Welcome to B-Rate Politics with Radio Guy. Please excuse any foul language or misinterpreted views. And at the same time, realize this is the YouTube version. Yeah, I put a video out, probably a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully, everybody had a good Christmas and have a good Happy New Year. But I decided, on occasion, I will put a video out here. Hopefully, I'm thinking about maybe going like twice a week or so on the days that I don't do a podcast. I run a 1 hour podcast on Monday, Wednesday, Friday on over on Patreon. You can find a link of it in the description. My Monday podcasts are always free, so I encourage you to check it out. I usually cover 3 different topics that most others kind of will eventually get to, but it's usually weeks later because obviously there's 2 overwhelming themes right now everybody's covering, which is either the election fraud or how Biden's screwing over progressives. So those are kind of the 2 main topics typically everyone's kind of focused on. Just to give an example, on my Friday podcast, I had talked about, I had gone into um, arms deals under President Trump. Kind of was set at a record pace, but I went back uh, really all the way to the beginning to 2002 in terms of the war on terror. Though I guess we didn't really do much in arms sales in 2001. But anyways, so I'm going to go over a topic. Usually, like I said, I'm going to try a little bit longer intro than I want to. But typically, these will be pretty short, maybe like 5 or 6 minutes. We'll come across an article like I have today. This is from The Hill, which is basically the media's love affair with Trump. That obvious, and we'll dive into that in a minute. But like I said, typically that's what I'll cover. At the same time, I might do what I usually do on my podcast, which is kind of bring this is some stuff that's going on during the week. So just kind of remember, on Tuesday, the Georgia Senate races are gonna happen, and like I said, I've kind of given my input on my podcast. I've got a feeling that I've got a feeling the Republicans will probably win both, but at the same time, if there was a Republican that's likely to lose, it will most likely be Loeffler first versus that of Perdue. But it's hard to say. Like I said, that race could go anyway. It's been relatively high turnout for it being a runoff, so we'll have to wait and see. At the same time, on Wednesday, you're going to hear a lot about this, which is, essentially we're going to have a joint session in Congress, and everybody, the Senate and the House, will get together. Mike Pence, the VP, as president of the Senate, he'll oversee the certification of the electors' votes. And that's going to be some fun. That'll be interesting. The last time it happened with one state in particular back in 2006, I think, was the state of Ohio. Really nothing big. What happens is House and Senate will debate for about 2 hours, and then they'll vote, right? I don't personally think that there's even enough Senate Republicans to actually vote to overturn, say, Pennsylvania's electoral votes. But at the same time, you have a Democrat House. And so if you do manage to have that scenario where it's split, the votes are then still registered. There's other scenarios that people are kind of running by. But in the end, I'm not really going to directly say what I think is going to happen. I will let the article that I'm about to cover give my input as to where I think we're headed as far as January 20th comes around. So you'll have to do a little bit of inferring as what the article I'm about to cover. So basically, this article from The Hill that I came across this morning caught my eyes because essentially it's the media's love affair with Trump. Now, not in a sense that they haven't been criticizing him. In fact, I would argue that in terms of President Trump, the media has been at its most hard hitting. Um, you know, this is really, in a way, the same media that had convinced everybody that, hey, let's go grow our Democrat seeds in the Middle East back in 2001, and we all see how that's paid off. There's a lot of very lush jungle. Adam and Eve would be so proud of what has been discovered there. Who knew? But the reality of it is that as Trump leaves office and he heads out the door, what's really going to matter in all of this is the ratings for these media companies, even Fox News, but especially like CNN and MSNBC, is going to fall off a cliff. Because that was always, one of the issues that the media had, is that Trump brought a reason to watch news, right? I can recall back in the times of President Obama that the media wasn't really that hard hitting on journalism. So I guess what you can call in the times of Trump, the quote unquote journalism that was really done is pretty much nonchalant, really. But moving into the Biden administration, I'm going to argue that the media coverage, which again wasn't really there for President Obama, it's gonna be curtailed a lot. You have to understand that President Biden, which realistically, let's be honest, it's going to be President Harris after a few years. The reality of it is President Biden is going to have to get the softball questions if he's asked anything. That is the reality. And so at the same time, it's going to be like, well, Biden, what kind of ice cream do you like? And the rest of us are going to be sitting here going, who the hell cares what kind of ice cream Biden likes? I don't care, right? Let's talk about who the number one arms dealer is. Most people don't even tell you, like, oh, well, who set the most arms deal sales? It was Trump. Trump basically doubled our arms sales in the last 20 years. He did it in 4 years. That's impressive. In fact, it's probably even greater. I only covered till about 2018, 2019. So there's a year's worth of arms sales I didn't even cover. But with that all being said, and to not really run a long video, that's basically what this article is about, diving in on where does the media go after Trump, right? Because now he'll be Citizen Trump. So what is that exactly that look like? And what I'm saying is that, well, first off, personally, I would highly encourage you to get your media, to get your news elsewhere, right? In my opinion, I think CNN, Fox News, MSNBC lost their credibility back in the George W. Bush administration in their pursuit of growing our Democrat seats. Boy, that was a lot of fun. Great, awesome, way to go, guys. But the reality of it is that you'll have to go to other places to finding legit news. Obviously, I highly encourage you to check out my podcast, at least on Mondays. But, I'm being serious. There's plenty of other news sites out there that you can come across to. And really what I would encourage too is that, if you're conservative, look for that liberal news. If you're liberal, look for that conservative news, right? Again, try and build up. If you look for opposite viewpoints, you'll strengthen your own, right? Because you kind of see where they're coming from to a degree and go, yeah, that's stupid. Doesn't make any sense to me. I see where you're coming from, but this is where I think you're wrong. I'm going to hit you on these points, and this is why I think I'm right, blah, 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 blah. There's a nice little discussion, debate, boom, there you go, right? And in honor of trying to keep this video under 10 minutes, again, typically a lot of these are going to be relatively shorter. This ran a little bit longer just because I'm trying to explain a lot of stuff. You can find it in the first video that I did on B-Rate Politics. Again, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Give me a shout out. Appreciate it. And anyone who's interested in covering and learning about the reality of the world in news. Thanks again for listening to B-Rate Politics, and have a good day.